Nice. It looked cool. Yeah, I have a feeling that's gonna be quite a pain in the ass to play for. And to play more bushes. Bushes aren't fun, man. I don't want more bushes. Bushes suck. Rengar? Yeah, Rengar in the bush. I mean, I think bushes suck, dude. I hate bushes.
Hey, it's AJZulu here, and this is a video where I wanted to talk about the new map changes coming next season for League of Legends. And with the clip that I choose to show you in the beginning, has Tyler one sort of talking about bushes. And yes, bushes, I do somewhat agree, kind of suck. Wanted to sort of talk about it before, but now this seems to be a better occasion to talk about it again. And so let's just get it out of the way that the key problem with bushes isn't really the rengar jump, at least in my opinion. It's mainly how vision is blocked with bushes, and there's really no interesting tactic with it, that you only have one side hiding in it and then waiting for the other side to sort of walk close, and then they get jumped, and then most of the time, 99% of the time, they die. And if they don't die, I don't see it as a technical skill on the one that got away, but a misplay on the other side. And it's just not that interesting to see in pro play, and certainly not as interesting to play against. And one can say that, oh, I should just use it and I can sort of benefit and win, but I don't even find that to be interesting when I get the bush advantage and keep the enemies at bay because they are afraid of me being in the bush. I just think how it restricts vision is the key problem. And with this Ocean Drake, it makes the problem even worse than before. And that might just be the end of the video, sort of, but with what I want to do is talk about alternatives. And with the Ocean Drake, and since the map is changing, not as much as sort of Dota 2 once again, since they have pseudo walls with trees and then have cliffs with different elevation and ground height, League of Legends is a much more flat game with very fixed walls and ride games. Decided to add plants, especially the blasting plant that lets you go over some of these walls, which helps make the map a little bit more dynamic and helps give more interesting pathways to go to certain location. And this is sort of the next iteration to the map being more, as they say, dynamic for each game. And I think it's a great attempt to do that with the dragon, since every game, let's say, have a different dragon, so you have like 4 games with a different map design at least. So let's get into the alternative options, starting with first again with the Ocean Dragon, and I will need to explain first, of course. And as you can see, the inspiration came with the idea to have the rune, in this case is water walking, have better interaction with the Ocean Dragon. And so since water walking gives you extra movement speed and damage when you're in the river, if you are actually lucky enough to get the Ocean Drake, then the river, I would say, should expand a little bit outwards, a little bit of a flooding. So the yellow lines is where the original river water line used to be, and then sort of the red line is where I indicate where I think the water level should go up. So it's just a little bit further outside of the river, going into a little bit of each of the jungle paths. And the blue line is just a third option of having the water just go 50% of the pathway, not the entire pathway that I'm drawing right here, but just around 50% of the way. Beforehand, I was thinking that and coloring around the map, thinking it will just go up to the red buff, but that just seems a little bit too much at that point and doesn't seem so natural for like an overflow of water, let's say. And maybe we could still have like a little bit more bushes here and there, but certainly not blocking pathways. Sorry, I had the fire open, but certainly not having fire in the way, as you can see like over here. That just seems a little bit too much and does not look too fun to play. For sure, assassin players, rengar players will be very excited to play in these bushes for sure, but for most other people, not so much. But with the water rising here, again, it's the interaction with the rune water walking that might seem to be more interesting and gives a sort of a nice buff as well for water walking to have like more areas where it is useful. With that said, let's move on to the next dragon. And so air dragon is one of these things where I might have the least amount of concerns about. It's just that it just seems that it's such a small area, and that is going to be the common thing with the rest of the dragons, is that most of the new things in the map and changes is just in the buff and nowhere else. And so is that really changing the map? And yes, there will still be air current in the dragon pit, but I don't think there will be one in the barren pit. And so in this case, it's just saying that the river path once again, let's just have like air flowing through the riverway. So with the map being so open on the outside here, let's just say that there's like an air current that goes through right at the center. And this inspiration kind of came when I go to the sort of condominiums. You're in the 20th floor or something, and then when you open the door to the balcony, air couldn't really go through because there's air pressure and there's nowhere for it to go. But then if you open the front door, now air has room to flow, and then you just get so much air coming through the balcony, through your room, and then out the other end of the door. And that's sort of where the idea came from, of like air current coming through one side and then going through the other. But that's the air dragon. Next one is sort of the mountain dragon, and again, as I said again, it's mainly changes to the buffs. So we have the rock change on one side, there seems to be a cut and the rock move again, a new rock formed up here, and a new rock formed over here. And I just wonder, it's like, and this would be like a good opportunity to have the dragon interact with the base. And let's say either with these rocks already formed per usual, let's have like an additional 2 more rocks appear, or just 1 more behind the nexus. And that's all there is with like the map changing within the base. Secondly, since a lot of these walls over here or up here near the blue buff are like dashable, you can dash over them, jump over them, leap over them, etc. I'm thinking it's like, why not have sort of walls where it actually goes much higher, where you're then no longer able to leap, maybe dash over, depending on how dashes work compared to regular jumps. But let's just say Kindred leap. Kindred wouldn't be able to leap over this wall anymore, or the Baron will have higher walls, and so people are not going to be able to leap over this wall anymore. And I leave this area open because usually blasting cones will be here, and same with the dragon buff in this side. And so blasting cones will still have an opening for people to, let's say, jump over into the Baron pit or jump over into the dragon pit. And so we leave that one open for like blasting plants to still be relevant when Mountain Dragon is played in this certain map. And finally with the fire dragon, and this seems to have the least amount of changes out of all the other dragons. And that would be the buffs. So we have 2 paths in the blue and red, and it just seems not enough. I don't know what else to say. Like, sure, Dragon Pit got a little bit wider, and just thinking about it a little bit, it's just there's a few parts of the map that has wood textures, and so those parts could be a little bit burnt and open new paths. Sure, bushes are burned, so I'm a little bit happy about that. But that might just be one out of 4 games, of course. So just a few paths that used to be leapable would then be open. This bottom part of the map isn't leapable to my knowledge, but certain champions could still sort of get through, so opening that area up might prove to be quite useful. But Dragon opening new paths doesn't seem to be as interesting compared to all the other dragons. But that's it for this video, talking about dragons and how Runeterra map is now going to be more flexible and going to be forever changing with each game, and hopefully each game then becomes more interesting. If you have any other ideas, or why, again with the main topic, the ocean dragon might not be such a good idea with water walking, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye for now.